Well, hello everyone. Let me get my stuff set up here. Oh, I need a bigger thing apparently. All right, that's a little better. What to do, everybody? Let me put some stuff up. Good afternoon or evening, I guess. It's almost 8 o'clock here. Glad you guys could make it. Sitting a little bit lower tonight. I got a new chair and I'm not 100% on it. So, this is one of my 3K Q. It's one of my Q&A streams where I just answer whatever questions you guys have, processor stories or whatever. You guys have got me for the foreseeable future, so fire away. We might read some stories too. I don't know. I've got my latest book, Bleak Vistas. So we might read some stories. What is it called? I just had one that's coming out. So if you guys are looking for more books, it just went live. I'm really just waiting for copies to come in. To get something Hellscapes. Hang on. I'll tell you. Dark Hellscapes. It's called Dark Hellscapes. But it should be on Amazon now if you guys want to get a copy. Just wait for a few more people to come in here, I reckon. Welcome to everyone that's here. Glad you could make it. I'm just going to post us around a little bit. See if we can't get some interest. Let's see, we got a couple more people. Hang on a second. Feels like I'm sitting on the floor here. That's a little better. Slightly. All right. Oh, so glad you guys could join me. Hope you brought your burning questions. I was kind of surprised to make it to 3K already. Hello, Bella. As some of you guys know, I had a bit of a windfall on Reddit yesterday and wound up with like almost 1,000 extra subscribers in like a 8-hour period. So yeah, this was actually probably going to take place a couple of months from now if that hadn't happened, because it would have taken me at least another 2 months to get to 3K. But I'm pretty grateful for everybody from Reddit for coming over and giving the channel a look and watching some videos. They put a lot of my videos over to K now, so that was pretty cool. Again, completely unexpected. So what's up? You guys doing all right tonight? Well, like I said earlier, I could read some stories if you guys are into that. Oh, sorry to hear it, Shanti. It is it's been rough for snow this year. I live in Florida though, so we never get any, unfortunately. I kind of miss it. I used to live in Georgia and it snowed a lot over there. I miss having seasons. Florida really just has hot and slightly less hot. Not a not a lot of variety. Mm, how bad's the snow? How deep they got over there? Oh, got another one. If you're just joining us, we're just doing a Q&A stream. Just, you got any questions about the stories, about the channel, anything, just don't hesitate to ask. I'll be here for the foreseeable future. So I really haven't got anything going on. I was playing Resident Evil 4 remake, so I needed a break anyway. Ooh, that is chilly. We were complaining over here because it got down to like, I think it was like 43 last night. We had to turn the heater on. That's always a wild time. Florida, you're lucky if you get into like the high 20s. I don't think I've seen it in the teens for a while. Not since I was a little kid. Not since that one time it snowed when I was like 4, but you barely ever see snow here. I'm doing good. This is my this is my couple of days off. And then I got to work all weekend, so not too shabby. Just kind of hanging out. Easton is ooh, Easton is terrible. I hurt my back really bad one year when I lived in Georgia, slipping down the stairs. Wasn't a lot of fun. Oh yeah, that's what I like about this job. Honestly, is that every other week you get a weekend off, so that's always good. That's when I catch up on my content. Not that I don't write a lot at work, but off days are usually when I make videos. Like tomorrow, I've got to do a couple of videos for next week. That way, we've got stuff to listen to. Oh, hopefully the weather's not treating you guys too badly, though. I know it's icy in certain places. It happens. Like I just have to like power through it because when you're on 7-day a week content, it's like, man, you gotta get it, or you're not gonna have a video. Fortunately, I've got enough content. Sometimes I can put up some long stories and be okay though. Um, I try not to use them too often though. That way I don't get that way people don't get used to the long ones and all they want's long stuff. Yeah. I've slid down a couple of hills like that too. Like the ice in Georgia gets really bad too, and every now and again you'll just catch a patch wrong and down you go. That's always it's not a lot of fun, but I mean I do miss having seasons though. Like I would kill for some real cold weather. My father-in-law used to say that the Florida cold like just kind of hangs around. He's like, at least when it's cold in Arizona, it has the decency to kill you. Hmm. Ground's never quite as soft as you think it ought to be when you hit it either. Oh, we had a lot of big rocks at the bottom of the valley that I used to live at too, so you were more likely to hit a rock too, which made sledding fun if you were my brother and I were like in our 20s by that point, but we were still intent we were going to go sledding, so like yeah, hit a lot of rocks. Oh, hopefully the winter isn't too bad though. That way, you kind of get some fun winter and then back to business as usual. Yeah, that you ain't kidding. That's the truth. That is the truth. Oh, everybody caught up on their stories. You guys are getting another cashmere one tomorrow, botanical garden story tomorrow. So like, I've got everything in playlists too. I know some of you guys are newish, so got a lot of cool playlists. If you guys need to get caught up on stuff, especially the Friday stuff, I've had a lot of people like, "Are they connected?" And I'm like, "Yes, all of them. All the stuff on Friday is connected." So I always tell people, it's like, go ahead and go ahead and get caught up. Uh-oh. I'll fortunately, most of you guys probably aren't too far behind. I mean, especially after the big one, the War of Winter, where all of them kind of connected up there. Well, thank you, April. Glad to see. Good to see you. Welcome. I like I told them earlier, I was not expecting 3K yet. I made a I made kind of a throwaway comment on Reddit and woke up to almost 1,000 new subscribers. I was like, dang, I guess I got to do that 3K Q&A a little sooner than expected. But it's been good. Like it's really pushed my views up. I'm hoping the algorithm notices me finally. Just kind of oh, it's a joy. I love writing and I love narrating. I wish I'd started doing it sooner. I really kind of convinced myself that no one would want to hear my voice, so I didn't narrate for a while. I definitely should have. Like I definitely should have started earlier. Um Mr. Creepypasta was actually the one that was like, "Hey, why don't you like narrate your own stuff? Like you've got a lot of good stories." He's like, "You could totally do it." Sorry, sending out a message on the old no sleep there. Got to get something to read tomorrow night. Tyler, there he is. What's going on? This is this is the guy that wrote that series a couple of months ago about what's it called, Tyler? It's the one where everything's made out of like flesh. Such a good series. It's such a good series. Um, I keep telling him he should write some more. Oh, the Covenant series. That's it. Yeah, that was a good one. I would I would like to see more of that. Oh, Now we got some people coming in. It was like that in Atlanta too. Like every now and again, most of the time, like Atlanta would never really get that much snow, and then every now and again, boom, like 4 or 5 inches just out of nowhere. Like, and it was super hard to predict. Oh, I feel that, man. I got to work all weekend, so I feel you. Not looking forward to it either. It's been rough lately. Numbers have been way up at the jail, and it's been a lot of work. So that's how it's been in Florida. Like we really didn't used to have all this like rain and stuff until after Hurricane Michael hit, and then Cat 5 hurricane rolls through and like just messes everything up. Like we had all kinds of issues after that. Like the pollen, all the pollen was everywhere. We had really bad like allergy summers, and the weather's been nuts. A lot more flooding. It's been crazy. Oh yeah. Probably Mr. Creepypasta. He used to read a lot of them. The Dark Somnium reads a lot of them too. Um, I used to uh I used to kind of like just pass them out to anybody that wanted them. Now I sell them, so that works out pretty good. I mean, it's not as lucrative as you'd think, but 10 bucks here, 15 bucks here, it ain't bad. Like I can't complain. It is definitely a blessing to get paid to do stuff that you love. Oof. Yeah, yeah, I can remember driving through Alabama a few times and seeing snow. Like, you guys are close enough to Florida though that like it never seems to stick. Like it always just kind of goes away after a while. Don't mind me. Looking for some stuff to read. Meant to peruse the old No Sleep earlier, but I've been really hooked on Resident Evil 4 remake lately, so I've been trying to beat it. It was probably one of my favorite Resident Evils. Like I remember playing the original and just like really loving it. Oh, thank you. I I remember when Mr. Creepypasta first reached out, I was starstruck because he was like my gateway into creepypastas. Like him and Creeps McPasta were like the first narrators that I ever really listened to. And oh dang, thanks, Tyler. I really appreciate that, man. You didn't have to do that. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like um, I think I'd been writing about 3 years, and then just out of the blue, Creeps McPasta reached out and was like, "Hey, I like the story. Can I read it?" And I was just I made a I kind of embarrassed myself because I'm like, "Oh my god, I know who you are." This is whoa. Like I was super out of my element. But yeah, no. Now I shoot them both emails all the time and I'm like, "Hey, you need some stories? I got stories." I save all the stuff that like is in a series for myself, but they still read a lot of my short stuff. Um, Dark Somnium too. What is his name? Dang it. Um, there's about 4 or 5 of those of the big narrators on there that read my stuff like pretty regularly. Um, and he's read a few of them by now, so I don't think he'd mind if I plugged him. Lighthouse Horror is actually one of the big ones that buys my custom fiction. So I'm really glad for that. Like he picks up quite a few, and it's been really nice to have his patronage there. Plus, he's got such a good voice for it too. Um, Lighthouse Horror. Like I love listening to his stuff. Hmm. I like that he appears in his own videos, like face to face. He just looks like such a dude. Like he's just like a guy you could sit down and have a beer with. Like he's just a regular old dude. And that's how I've always tried to do my narrations. Like a lot of people were like, you got to deepen your voice and you got to put on a voice. It's like, nah, I want a voice that like, you could you could like sit around and like have a drink with, and it's like, hey man, let me tell you this cool story. I always kind of try to keep it casual, that way you guys feel like, we're just hanging out, telling stories. I always used to like to do that as a kid, just hang out and tell stories and stuff. I mean, obviously, I guess it translated well. Trying to remember what his name is. There's a newer narrator. I think his background image is like a big owl. He does a lot of like Appalachian stories and like down south stories, and his voice is just so good for it. Like he's got like that perfect creepy narrator voice, and I love him to bits. Hang on, I still got Twitter pulled up. I bet I could find him. Spooky Spader. And like if you haven't listened to him, he does such a good job. Like he's got that like that deep twang, and his voice is like down here, and he really brings it. Like all of his stories have that like that like ambient creep factor, and it's crazy. And I love it. Like he's one of my favorite newer narrators. Well, guys, this is a Q and A. Did you guys have any questions? I'm honor bound to answer them if you did. As long as they're not like going to go into spoiler territory. Like I totally won't tell you when grandpa dies. Like people keep asking. I'm like, "No, he's good for a while." I do try. Like at least to me, like all of my characters just kind of sound like me doing a voice, but like um see Glimmer La Dama de Blanca is like um she wanted to do a bunch of my she wanted to do like a bunch of my stories, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, but I really like your voice. Can I interest you in doing a character for me?" Um what was her name? There's another one. She does the voice of Madeline. Like when I bring Madeline back in the Killian stories, I'll have to reach out to her. I think it's Lady Vengeance. I think that's what she called herself. She's got a great voice, and she just does such a good job. Like I love it. And then of course, I mean there's the Baron who does Killian. Like he was one of my first like voice acquisitions, and I love his voice so much. He's a really good friend of the show. He's got some lines in my inbox right now that I need to put into a Killian story that's probably going up Monday. So, spoilers there. Yeah, you guys are probably getting a Killian story Monday. But nah, like I've been really blessed to find such great voice talent. Um, especially especially with Ladama, I think the fact that English isn't her first language, she does a really good job with it. But if you've looked at her channel, she's a Spanish horror narrator, and her voice has that element of like not being completely familiar, not being like a native speaker of the language, that it really adds to Glimmer's character, and I love it. Like she does great, but like I love that factor. I think that it adds a certain amount of, because Glimmer would not speak English, I guess. Like it wouldn't be her native language, so it adds that authentication to it in a lot of ways. At least to me, I don't know if that makes any sense. Oh my god, someone else oh no! You found my dirty secret. Ah. Look, Figurin's Disciples was during, like, a point in my life, okay? Oh, hello, Chastity. Sorry, I forgot to greet you, but, that was in my fantasy phase. Like, a lot of you guys know I wrote fantasy for, like, 10 years? Like, since I was 8, like, trying to make a go at fantasy. Like, horror is just something I stumbled across in, like, the last like, less than a decade. Um, but no, one of these days I gotta get around to narrating Figurin's Disciples. Like, one of these days I gotta get around to writing a part 2. Like, my grandmother my grandmother is my one and only Amazon review on that book, and she loves it. She's like, she's like, "Look, I'm 82. I want a sequel. Where's my sequel?" And I'm like, "Easy, Graham. I got stuff going on. I'm doing other stuff here." One of these days I gotta do that though. I I've noticed that. I don't think it's something she's doing on purpose. I'm not sure. She had offered to let me help her narrate some stuff on her channel, but like my Spanish is god awful. So like, I'm like, you're gonna lose subs if you've got me trying to muddle my way through Spanish on there. But she's been real instrumental in the channel. I've um I've got a few more people I might add here before long. I've got some ideas. Like I've got some stuff I'm working on. I really want to do something special with the Dollar General stuff. You know, now that part one is over. Spoilers, part two inbound. But now that part one is over, I'd really like to do like some special things with the Dollar General Beyond stuff. If any of you guys are familiar, if any of you guys have heard about that one, that was only the best rated series in August on No Sleep. Nah, I'm fucking with you guys, but it was. But I'd really like to do like some ARG stuff with it. Maybe make like some training videos or something, something to like something fun. If I had time, it would be something I'd have to have time for. But yeah. Um, I'd love to do some kind of like little series on Kashmir. Like Kashmir is just such an interesting place to me. I bet. Like that's I mean, if you can find one that's open, half of them they don't even have keys anymore to them, or they're always closed. Like that's where it really came to me is like I'd stopped at a Dollar General like in the middle of the night one time and couldn't use the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, I bet they're hiding something. I bet it's a conspiracy, and it just kind of went from there. Yeah, no, it's been great. Like we finished it over on Reddit. I've got all the first part written. I'm waiting. I'm kind of bringing it to YouTube like a little at a time. That way I don't like bog you guys down with it. Cuz No Sleep was hungry for it. Like I would write other stuff and they're like, "Hey, yeah, that's interesting. Where's the Dollar General stuff?" I'm like, it's coming. Calm down. You're going to be all right. It's going to get here." But nah, they wanted it right then. And so I pretty well had to just about write one or two a week there for a little bit, which was fine. I loved the Dollar General series. It was a great thing to write. But I'm really interested to get started on part two. I think it's still got a lot of interesting directions to go to. Heck, I've had friends that have read it and they're like, you should try pitching it to Netflix. You should work on something and see if Netflix or Hulu would be interested. I think they would be. It'd take definitely take some doing. If grandpa has hospital stories, not yet. It's something technically speaking, the hospital was built after the war that grandpa is currently like at the end of. Like if you've kept up with the grandpa stories, grandpa's in Alaska right now, which is like 1940, 1946, 1947. Grandpa's pretty well in Alaska for like the next couple of years. I mean, of course, he is eventually going to come back to Kashmir, but I mean, obviously, but the hospital itself has isn't opened until like 1960. So Grandpa may hypothetically have some hospital stories. We'll just have to see. Um, that's a good idea. Like the little SpongeBob in my head is yelling at me, "Write that down! Write that down!" So like, yeah, Grandpa will probably have some hospital stories. Yeah, see, Tyler, that's the problem I'm encountering is I really want to keep the Dollar General part of it because that's the joke is that like, it's the Dollar General beyond. And the only way you get out of it is to go to Family Dollar because they're always right next to each other. But there's no way that Dollar General's going to let me do that. Like the second I start putting up things with the Dollar General logo on it or the Dollar General name on it, they're going to shoot me down hard. I'm surprised they haven't demonetized me on YouTube yet for that, but I don't really think they care about creepypastas all that much. It's not hurting their business. My wife likes to laugh about it. She's like, "You should see if you can get like a deal with them to like sell it in their store." Oh, thank you, April. You don't have to do that. I really appreciate you guys. You guys really, you guys really getting out there tonight. I like that. Thank you. Oh, that was bringing everybody together in the War of Winter was just so much fun. Like I can't tell you how much. Like I'd been wanting to do it for a while, but once I brought Dr. Winters into Stragview, I'm like, "Oh, now I got to bring everybody together. Now everybody's got to have a reason to come together." And eventually I want the guy, the storyteller from the hospital to become a bigger part of it. But that'll come later. That'll definitely come later. I want them to like the Kashmir Avengers kind of there. Like when they're in trouble, the story it needs to. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Cracker Barrel spinoff. Like I had been playing with the idea of like if I can get it adapted into some kind of like TV thing, like expound on the stores a little because like some of these stores have like there's a little journal that he's keeping in the background of like all the of all the store descriptions, and like I really wanted to throw some crazy stores in there, like a story and a store in a submarine, or like a store that exists inside the belly of something, and just like weird stuff. Get out of here! What? I did not know that. I didn't know that. I knew that Dollar Tree and Dollar General were forming an unholy alliance, but I didn't know they owned Family Dollar too. That's wild. That that just seems a little that seems illegal. I don't know. That seems a little bit illegal. Oh man, that is high praise. You have no idea. Like Stephen King is like my muse. Like you can't see it from here because it's over here, but I've got like a whole shelf of nothing but Stephen King hardbacks. One of these days I gotta truck my butt up to Maine and see if he'll sign something for me. Apparently he appears at some of his house tours sometimes, and he likes to sign books. Ghost Rider. Like the story about the guy who writes the guy who writes what is it? I did kind of base that one off a King story actually. Like I had read it and I'm like, I like that. I'm gonna steal that. There's a Dollar General Dollar. What? I've seen them. I've seen Dollar Trees and Family Dollars together, but the Dollar Generals in my area seem to be like on the outskirts of that. Like it's almost like they're having a little like spat with each other or something, which we all kind of like to joke. It's like the Dollar Generals pop up in like a week, and then the Family Dollars are quick to follow. If I did an ARG, that would probably be one of the things with the Dollar Generals is that the owners of the Dollar General company are never aware that there's a new store until people call to see if they're hiring, and then they just add it to the board because it's like, another store cropped up. Whew. Yeah, no, I tried to get him to come in, but I think maybe he's shy. I've got a guy that's editing some of my books now, the ones that I've finished, like Towsy Homestead, if any of you guys remember that one. Like I've written a yep, exactly, Shanti. That goes off in my head a lot. But if any of you guys remember that series from Towsy Homestead, I did a whole book about that. I've been pitching it around to agents, but I haven't really got any interest so far. I'm considering just self-publishing it, but as much as I like self-publishing, I would really like to have at least a couple that are in the hands of people that can market it better than I can, because I'm bad at marketing. Like I'll be the first to admit, I am not good at marketing myself. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that out. Um, what would I say? Oh, that's one that's coming together too. Um, I've uh I've got the next part planned. I just haven't written it yet. Because if you've kept up with the Black Site 12 stuff, we've got all our kids, like our kindergarten is assembled. We just have to find out what happens next. And I hope some of you guys aren't squeamish because these kids are in for a ride. If any of you guys enjoyed The Institute by Stephen King, it's like that, except worse. I I don't know, man. Like some people get a little upset because sometimes I kill kids, but like I don't like to. I don't like to I like to take the kids' gloves off. Sometimes I just sometimes kids need killing. Nah, that's terrible. But I don't like to stick to the norms where they're like, you can't kill kids and you can't kill pets. I'm like, it's my stories. I'll kill anybody I feel like. Thank you very much. But I try to stay away from it, but I don't always manage it. Oh, yes, Shanti. The Rayford Woods stories are mine too. They're part of our Monday stories. Let's see. Mondays are hang on. Get out my list here. Um Wait for Google Doc to load. My internet sucks. Mondays are Killian stories, the Laughing Audience stories, uh, the Richard T. Serif stories, the Black Site stories, the Bright series, the Rayford Woods, and the Dollar General Beyond stories. And then Fridays, everything from Kashmir, and then Wednesdays are just like my regular like one-off stories. I'm working on it. I'm not entirely sure how that one's going to pan out yet. I kind of know, but when you write stories, sometimes it keeps you guessing right up to the very end. And that's what I like about horror is like you can keep it fresh and keep it guessing kind of like right up to the very end. Like you kind of Towsy Homestead was not supposed to end the way it did, quite honestly, but when I wrote out the way I wanted it to end, it just didn't look right. I had to go back and change it to the way I felt like it should end. And sometimes that's what you do when you write. You write it out and you're like, that's not right. That's not how that should be. And you end up having to rewrite it. Um Shoot, I know how the grandpa stories are going to end, but I don't know exactly how they're going to end. Like I have an idea. I don't, I know what I must do, but I don't know if I have the strength. Like that's going to be a bad day. That's that's going to be a bad time because I really love those grandpa stories. They remind me of my grandpa who is dead. About Grandpa died the year I got into corrections. He's been dead about 6 years now, I guess. He's a good guy. He liked to tell stories and play guitar, and I miss him. He's the grandpa we all wish we had, Bella. Like, grandpa's just he's that guy. Yes. Like, it's sometimes there are characters that I'll hang on to, like, way too long because I don't wanna kill kill them. I know they're supposed to die, but I don't wanna kill them. Like, I either identify with them or I love the characters. It's like, believe it or not, like, the character I probably like the most is the Warden of Stragview. Like, I if I it's terrible to say because he's an awful person, but, like, he's a very interesting character. He has no real name. He doesn't seem to have a purpose other than, like, running his prison, and, like, in a lot of ways, that's enough for him. Villains are fun. Villains like and he's the warden is not somebody that's gonna get a redemption arc. I can already tell you that. Like, I don't know how he's gonna end up, but I can tell you flat, he's not gonna get a redemption arc. Um, he's just he is an unredeemable creature at the end of the day, but I love him. Like, he's just such a fun character to write. Like, he's I don't know if any of you guys have ever worked in a prison, but there are elements in the prison system that move like shadows, and that's the warden. Like, he is the warden. He moves in the background and he does what he wants ultimately. The only real backstory we have for the warden just yet is that, like, he and Dr. Winters are siblings. Like, they're both Hellspawn. Like, we've established that by now. They are they are demons. And not to drop too many hints for later this year, but there's a third sibling that you guys are going to meet. And that's all I'll say. I love me some Hannibal Lecter. I Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Red Dragon. I love me some Hannibal Lecter. Sometimes a lot of the Stragview stories are maybe sort of based on things that have happened at the place where I work. Um, if you read Shower 12, which is one of my favorite Stragview stories, above all of them, and I've got a ton. But if you've read Shower 12, the two guys that die in that story are two guys that I worked with in confinement. They were my best friends. Like, these were the guys that I worked with the longest with in confinement. And we were buds. Like, we hung out on the street. We used to go to each other's houses. Um, I miss them. Like, I miss them. I still talk to them, but, like, it's not the same. But yeah, like, I let one of them read it, and he's like, "This is us. This You killed us." I'm like, "Kinda, yeah." He's like, "You asshole. Why would you do that?" I'm like, "You like it, though?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a good story, but, you didn't have to kill us." Um, what was the Stolen Time is, not to put too fine a point on it, Stolen Time is about an inmate that I currently deal with who just wants to get you to hang out on his door so he can waste your time. And he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows that's his plan. He wants to monopolize your time. And I wrote it and I let a buddy of mine read it who knows of him, and he's like, "That's so and so, isn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I figured. I figured." He's despicably written and has been acted beautiful. Oh, well, thank you. The warden is, like I said, one of my favorite characters. So, like, trying to remember, there was well, if you remember the story, The Kindness, about the officer that brought a sense of peace to the dorms that he was in, that was my role when I was in the prison. Like, when we were in confinement, I went out on the floor. I was the negotiator. I was the one that would talk to people. And then we had my buddy who was big and would like yell at people. And my was always my gambit. It's like, look, you're gonna have to fly right, or he's gonna come out here, and you don't want that. It's like, oh, I don't want that. Yeah, you might want to straighten up. So bye. And it usually works. Like they did not want him to come out there in their business, and they were fine with me because I'm not a big guy and I'm kind of approachable. But I I can't say that I dislike my work. I just it's definitely a mental strain sometimes. Like there are days where you get off and like your mental health is in shreds. But it's not all bad. It pays the bills and sometimes that's what counts. Yeah. Um I I've got some cousins that were in the same prison that I worked at. I just didn't tell the people that I worked with that they were there, and they knew better than to approach me. They knew they weren't getting nothing from me. It's like they're like, "Hey," and they'd use my first name, and I'm like, no. When I'm in here, it's Officer Campbell, and I'm not giving you nothing. Like, you ain't getting shit from me." Yeah, yeah. Eventually, like they told my supervisors that they were related to me because I was flipping their stuff every day. I'm like, your Aunt Margaret would be real upset if she knew what you had in here. I'm gonna call her and tell her. Oh, she won't put money on my books. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call her and tell her you need to straighten up. They used to hate that. Push you towards corrections. I just kind of ended up there. I I worked for the state for like 3 years. I started out in IT. Um, then I went to then they ran out of money. So I worked in an office for a while. Then they ran out of money. But I had struck up a friendship with the maintenance guys, and so they let me come work with them for a couple of years, and then they ran out of money. And then custodial was like, "Well, you can come work with us." So I ended up cleaning toilets and sweeping floors and stuff. Not bad work. Like I'm not a slouch, I'm not a whiner, but I'll do just about anything. But I was looking for new jobs because you get tired of being a janitor after a while. You want to make a little more money. And I saw corrections pop up, and I'm like, can probably instruct guys how to clean toilets as well as I can clean them. So, why not? It it paid well enough for me, but like when I started corrections, I went from making like 12 bucks an hour to like $18 an hour. And within my first year there, I stepped up to 1950. Um, by the time I was done, what's up, Ryan? By the time I was done with the prison, I think I was making closer to 23. And at the jail, I make closer to 29. So like, um, it's not bad. Like as long as you can handle the mental strain that comes with it, it's not bad work. Um, you know, can't complain. My loans get paid on time. That's all the bank usually cares about. But nah, I would honestly recommend it for just about anybody thinking about, that's looking for work because they're all always hiring. There she is. We were just talking about you earlier. If you guys remember, that's Ladama. She voices Glimmer. We were talking about Glimmer earlier, and you had come up. I was sending people over there to see you. Oh yeah, like I look. Florida sucks. I don't know if any of you live here, and I'm sorry if that offends you. Yeah, we're talking about you. We're talking about people that do voice work on here, and I was like, you guys got to go check her out if you speak Spanish, even if you don't. Um, yeah, I'm in Florida. Florida sucks. Florida sucks a lot, but old Ronnie DeSantos, the God King of Florida, has decided that he likes corrections, so we get raises pretty regularly. Like the man has increased my pay 3 times since he went into office. So I'm not a fan of his politics, but like I like money. Like I'm not going to put my politics over like money at this point. I don't really do politics anyway. Like I tend to stay out of it. That's not an arena that I like to be in. I feel like it's divisive. Um as many of you have noticed, like politics are kind of kept out of to a minimum in my stories if I can help it. It's it's as hard a job as you make it. I'll give it that. Corrections is as hard a job as you make it. Um but yeah, the hours are hard. Um a lot of marriages do not survive corrections. Um but yeah, no, it's wild. You'll see stuff in corrections you won't see anywhere else. Oh, the grandpa voice is very unique. Like I don't know where it came from, but the second I started voicing him, that's just what came out. Which one was that? Was that one that I narrated for somebody else? I think yeah, I think that was one that I narrated for somebody else because I usually try to keep them out of mine, but I know there's been a couple of them that like definitely tread into there. Well, thank you, Ladonna, for supporting us and providing your awesome voice for Glimmer. I've got a big Glimmer story coming up. I know I tell you this every time we talk, but I've got a big Glimmer story coming up for like spring that I've still got to write. Um, so that should be fun. I'll try not to overwork you. I promise. Like I always feel bad like sending out voice lines. I'm like I'm gonna overtax this person and they're gonna quit. It is. She's been such a dear. She's been such a delight to have on the channel. Like I said, I appreciate anybody that does voice work for me. Like it really brings a lot to the channel when you've got a unique voice to put to a character. Like it's great. Like I've told the Baron, I'm like, look, if I ever do audiobooks of Killian, like you better like clear up your calendar because you're voicing my Killian books, and he's fine with that. He's like, I'm totally on board, absolutely, because he's at this point he's the voice of Killian. Like it just is. Like not a lot I can do about it. I've got some buddies that really want to get into voice works. I think before long there may be like a decent cast of voices on here. I mean, along with the voices I've got now, which I love to pieces. Oof. For those of you joining us, we're doing our 3K Q&A. So yeah, if you got any burning questions you want to ask, let me know. I'll answer almost anything. Um, I had a I told a bunch of people when we first started, I had a bit of a Reddit windfall yesterday, and like I made an offhand comment, just an offhand comment in r dash memes, and I woke up to like 1,000 new subs. So I didn't honestly figure we'd be doing this for at least another couple of months, but this kind of came out of nowhere. I'm actually closer to 4,000 subs now, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do one at 5K. Um, Kind of hoping with a few extra subs, maybe the algorithm notices me. That would be great. Um, Not that I'm not happy with my views and everything I have, but it's always nice to get noticed. Oh, Cassidy, you didn't have to do that. I really appreciate it. Oh, well, you sleep tight, and we will hopefully see you Friday. There's a new botanical garden story, so you don't want to miss that. I really appreciate that. That was, you never know. Like I didn't think anybody would want to hear my voice on here. Like I'm like, man, my voice is all nasally, and I sound like a 13-year-old boy going through 13-year-old girl puberty. Like my voice is terrible, and they're like, no, you're fine. Go do it, and it worked out, I suppose. Like it just sometimes it works out. Like you never know who's gonna want your voice. Shoot, if you get into it, I'll use your voice on the channel. Like I like having extra voices. It's nice. It beats the ones up here. I mean, if I could put them on camera, it'd be great. But that's a joke. Please, nobody report me to mental health. Yeah, no, I love narrating. Like honestly, I wish I'd started doing it years ago. Wish I'd started doing horror sooner. Like nothing to it but to do it, Bella. Like I used to do stand up too, and the hardest thing to do was just to get on stage that first time. And once you realize that no one's going to shoot you dead when you get behind the mic, it gets a lot easier. Ladama would probably say the same. Like that first video is always really nerve wracking, but once you get a couple in, you just get a rhythm, and it's just fun. Well, Audible is always hiring. I've found out. I'm trying to get in with them now. I'm waiting to hear back. Make sure you get the right link because I'm pretty sure I got a scam link the first time I went in. So, just FYI there. That sounds like me with my mom. Like, luckily, my kid brother and I are like 8 years apart. So, when I was too old for bedtime stories, I just sat in on him getting read bedtime stories. And that took me all the way. He got read bedtime stories till he was like 12. So that pretty well took me all the way there. Um, Trying to think. Another one you might look at is ACX. They do a lot of narrating for audiobooks, like freelance audiobook narrations, and they do a lot of voice work too. I'm trying to get in with them right now, but nobody seems to want my audition tape, so I'm just pitching my lines out and waiting for a fish. Be nice to get a little bit of voice work, and you know, as much as I tell people that corrections is like a really good job, I'd really like to stop doing it, please. Like, it's gotten to a point where it's not even that, like, some people are like, "Aren't you afraid for your life?" It's like, "No, not really." There's a Walmart on the way to my house. They'll never make it there. They'll get caught stealing something else. I'm not really that worried. Um, but it's just sometimes it changes you. Like at this point, the death threats don't affect me. And I realize that like it's starting to like affect my mental health a lot. Like they're like, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, yeah, wish you would, and just roll on. And it's after a while you're like, I gotta stop saying that. People are gonna take me seriously. But no, ideally, I'd love to make enough money doing YouTube to like just stop. It'd be nice. The other thing is like I'd hate to be without insurance, especially right now. Um my Some of you may have guessed from some of my other stories, but my youngest is autistic, so he's in therapy and he takes a lot of meds. So being without insurance would be hard right now. Yeah, after a while, like it just death threats are just death threats. I'm like, man, when you get out, you're not even gonna remember who I am. Like, I'm not that worried. Like after a while, you get kind of numb to it. You're kind of numb to a lot of things after a while. Like, I don't know, like some of them come in and they're in bad shape, and you're just like, another day. It's like, man, I used to have empathy. What happened? No, I've been trying though. I'm really trying to like not let myself slip in that direction. It happens to a lot of COs. Like a lot of them just they get numb to it. And they get real. The money's nice. Like the hours are not great. The overtime sucks, but the money's nice and the insurance is good. But it's bad sometimes. Oh god, I hate those people that like tempt fate like that. It's like, man, you don't know how crazy people are online sometimes. Like they're just some of these guys, they do not have any chill. They will hunt you down. That's Ryan and that I've been very blessed. Like one time, I had a dude follow me from Reddit over here thinking he was going to be slick and leave a bunch of hate on one of my videos. A bunch of you guys pushed his stuff in before I could even delete his comment. Like I have a very supportive base here, and like I really don't get a lot of hate. Like I keep myself out of politics, I keep myself out of drama, and I just maintain. Like I do not come in for bullshit. I do not come in for any of the drama. Like I'm here to tell creepy stories, and that's all I want to do. And talk to you guys, and maybe play some video games. Oh well, I try. I try. Like there's a lot of narrators that I see that like to get political. They like to get dramatic. They like to they like to do things I don't agree with their fans, and I'm like, no, no, that's not okay. I don't want to. I would. I don't want to be one of these narrators that like Turkey Tom does a expose on like 3 years from now. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Exactly. Exactly. If you don't like it, then just go somewhere else, you know? Nobody's forcing you to like, intake their content. Like it's ridiculous. I don't think people realize that like, it's not that this is my livelihood, but there's a person on the other end too. Like I know some people get off on that like destroying a person, but like that's a human being, you know? There's no sense to that. Like if you don't like their content, then just don't interact with it. Oof, we've tripped over into some real horror topics here. Like, eh, but people are gonna people. Dang, we've been going for an hour already. Time flies when you're having fun. You know how it is. I know, right? Meh, people. It's enough people in for today. I've got a couple of I've got a couple of stories that I've either put out or I'm working on about like social media horror and stuff. Obsessive fans and like, just I mean, I've got that one about like To Catch a Killer where like the killer sends out the packages to catch people, which is kind of neat. But I've been working on a little bit more like topical horror too. Like I wish that No Sleep sometimes would like, give a little bit more care for topical horror. They don't really seem to. Like I've had some really good stories that got taken down because they labeled it as emotional horror, and I'm like, emotional horror is real horror. Like, just because it made you sad instead of made you scared doesn't make it any less horrific. It's true, Ladama. There will always be haters. You just gotta click that ignore button. Just gotta hit that block button and move on. I don't think enough people do that. Like I don't think enough people like I want you guys to see my messy house. It's terrible. Um I don't think enough people know that they can just like, just that's what the ignore buttons are for. Just click it and move on. I think that's about as good as it gets. Yeah, like um what's that story I always tell people? Final Thoughts. Like if you've never read my story Final Thoughts, yeah, I think it's pinned to my Reddit. Like go read it. Like it is horror. Like it is horrific, but again, it's One of these days I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt. It's that scary boohoo instead of that scary boo-boo. Like it's scary in a different way. Like it just it it makes people afraid, but not the way that they're used to being afraid. Um it's a it's a program that like how's best to describe it? Like when someone dies, it like takes their final brain patterns and it like lets you speak to them until they like for like the last 30 minutes of their life basically. So like it lets them tell you basically lets them tell you goodbye. And the guy in the story is trying to get home because he thinks his wife is on the phone slowly dying as she bleeds to death. But then at the end you figure out, hey, she's been dead for like an hour. Like the ambulance is there to get her. Like she's dead already. He's just hearing the last gasps of her final thoughts. And it's sad. Like as someone with a spouse, like that is one of my greatest fears, like is to like wake up and that person is no longer there and then you have to live in the aftermath. Or what was uh what was the one about the kid and his dad? Silent Treatment. Silent Treatment was another one. Like at that point my oldest son and I were really not seeing eye to eye. We really weren't getting along. We were really going through some stuff. And he was in a bad place. And it was always my fear that I'd go to wake him up one morning and he'd be dead. Like he'd have killed himself. He'd have unalived himself. And that was always a fear of mine. Like people say a lot of times, they're like, the story speaks about what you're afraid of. You're afraid of losing your family. Like you're afraid of losing the people that you care about. And I'm like, at the end of the day, yeah, that's what scares me the most is like not having enough time with the people that I love. Or not having enough time with the people that matter, you know? Like my parents are getting up there. Like I'm scared to death about losing my parents. I know it's gonna happen, but I don't want to, you know. And I think that's what makes great horror is like, yeah, definitely. Like I think that's what makes quality horror when you feel things beside when you feel fear, but you also feel something deeper. Um, some of you guys will remember it too. Demons. It was called Demons, and it was about depression. That one was a rough one too. Like talking about like dealing with depression your entire life. And how it eventually like ate him up. And I mean it got him in the end, but that was a rough story. That was like the second or third creepypasta I ever wrote too. Like trying to remember what stories I wrote. Like yeah, yeah, it was about the third creepypasta I ever wrote. Um because at that point in my life I was going through a lot of depression and I was trying to find a good outlet for it. I still do. I mean, depression isn't something you ever really kick, but you just strain up underneath it. It's depression. You just sometimes you got to stop listening to the voices back there and go do stuff. Here lately, it's been I don't have time to be depressed. I'm too busy. Yeah, Mm, losing loved ones is always difficult. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I know, right? Like, who's got who's got time to die? Like, I got stuff to do. At the end of the day, like I'm the dad out of the clicking of the keys, honestly. Like once I die, my wife will just set me up in the chair in front of my keyboard and be like, "Get it all out, babe, whatever." And I'll just click away until I turn to dust. Super short story. The that one. Look, I had just gotten glasses and I just gotten glasses again and I went to go like to go get that glaucoma test. And after that, like after it like just shoots air into your eyeball, I'm like, no, I'm writing a story about this. I hate that machine. I hate that machine to death. I don't understand why that torture device is a part of my eye test. That's right, Ryan. Like Teddy Roosevelt said, they're gonna have to take me sleeping because death's gonna have a fight if I'm awake. Like I ain't going quietly. I got stories to write. Is it unnecessary? I assumed there was a purpose behind that machine because they always trotted out to use it. Either that or it's just like something for them to like laugh at you. Like I assumed it was something like that. Like they're just like, let's just roll this machine out. It doesn't actually do anything, but we're gonna laugh at him when he jumps. Ugh, I hate the glaucoma testers. There's got to be a better way to do that. Ugh. Oh, I don't like that either. I don't like that either. That sounds awful. I don't like anything to go near my eye. Not at all. It was meatloaf and mashed potatoes tonight, Ryan. It was fake meatloaf, but it was tasty. I don't care, Shanti. I don't care if I can see it or not. I don't care if I can feel it. If I can see it, I'm gonna freak out. Like ooh, I like ribs. I like to cook them in the crock pot, but I like me some ribs. Um, Fun fact: my mother decided that I needed to be a nurse when I was 18, so she sent me to pre med school for like 8 months before I dropped out and told her it wasn't for me. Burned through all my college savings. I learned I'm fine with anything, just about anything. Like cut a dude open and plain his guts, golden. Pack a dude's chest cavity full of ice and yank his heart out, super duper. Take a dude's kneecap off, great. Play around in some dude's eyeball, absolutely not. I will not go near your station. I will be by the door when it is time to leave. Thank you very much. Like, I do not do anything that involves eyeballs. Which is why that story where the dude gets poked in the eyeball with that metal rebar, that squeebs me. Um, Ooh, ribs in the crock pot would be good. I got chili in the crock pot for tomorrow. I got to finish off the last of my Italian wedding soup. I've been on a soup kick lately. Like my for Christmas, I got this like soup container that looks like an urn. Um, and I've just been making soup to take for dinner at work. Oh, see, maggots are fine. They're just there to eat dead skin. Maggots are your friends. No, I don't like maggots anywhere near bodies either, though. That's disgusting. Um, Bones poking out of things. I don't like that much either. Some of my stories have definitely got to you then. I use bugs a lot. They can eat normal things like normal people, like not dead people, please. Um, I am aware they used to use them to clean out dead tissue, but that sounds awful. Ooh, chili verde. People do eat dead things. You are correct, but usually those we usually don't have to look at those dead things for a while. I mean, you're right, man. Maggot's got a maggot. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I've heard it tastes like bacon, especially if you cook it right. Yeah. Wife's wondering what I made for dinner. Yeah, I've heard. I've heard. I wouldn't know anything about that. I've heard. I mean, I've heard goat tastes real good too, but if you cook it right, I would know about that. That goat is delicious or it's terrible. There's no middle ground. It's either good or it's bad. There used to be this little cart that parked up by the health department, and I had eaten there a bunch of times before he told me it was goat. And after that, it's like, shoot, why not keep eating it? I've had a lot of it this far, so Might as well. Yeah, it's on my bucket list, maybe human flesh. Ugh, yeah, no, ew, festering wounds. No, thank you. Oh, Chinese food all day long. Chinese food all day long. Tentacle monster in a Chinese restaurant. Oh, you mean squid? Yeah, I'll eat squid too. I'll eat the mess out of some squid. Um, Around here, April, if you get goat in Florida, you always have to worry that it has parasites. Like, I had a buddy that raised goats, and apparently they're trying to breed like Das Ubergoat or something, like whatever the German word for goat is, that is like immune to Florida parasites. Yeah, but like I like like I'll eat Panda Express any day of the week. I know that's not Chinese food, but I'll eat it every day of the week. Um, there's a there is a Chinese buffet in town called Chow Time, and they know that if they see me coming, they're going to lose money because I'm going to eat $40 worth of sushi, and then I'm going to eat another $40 worth of Mongolian barbecue, and that's all. That's it. Sushi and Mongolian barbecue. That's it. And they're going to lose money because it's only $12 a head to go in there for lunch. Panda Express is like every time I go eat at Panda Express, I want to like open up an American restaurant in China that just sells like hamburgers and hot dogs and like the mascot is literally like Uncle Sam. Like just I feel like that's what Chinese people feel like we want them to eat. Like I don't feel like that's actually what they eat. Like I feel like they feed us that because it's yummy and they know we'll eat it. Yeah, no, Taco Bell is only good for soaking up alcohol at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've heard. I wouldn't know. I imagine. The breakfast is good though. Breakfast is real tasty. Hash browns are bussin', as the kids do say. Yes, yes, it does. Fun fact: we went to a we went to a Korean church once when my parents moved to like this town when I was little, and like they feed you during the service, and we ate a lot of seafood. Like there was a lot of shrimp and there's a lot of squid and a lot of eel and a lot of fish and a lot of rice. It was all good. It was all delicious. They're probably the reason that I will eat eel to this day. Barbecued eel, bring it on. Absolutely. Seafood, let's bring it the whole ocean. Yep. Those guys will eat some seafood that I don't think you're supposed to eat too. Like I've heard my whole life that you don't eat. There's just certain kinds of fish you don't eat, and they eat them, and they I guess they taste good. I don't know. Of course, we eat catfish too, and those are basically trash fish. Like they live on the bottom of the lake and they eat garbage. Got to be careful with sea urchins though. It's like eating puffer fish. Like you really want it to be the guys like third or fourth year doing it. You don't want to get a day one guy cooking your fugu there. Like like I'm all for like trying cool stuff, but like I want the guy to have a little bit of experience. It's like eating rattlesnake. You want to make sure they want to get that venom sac out of there, like for real. I'm not trying to die here. You ever seen somebody get Shanti may have? You ever seen somebody get bit by a rattlesnake? It does not look like fun. They do not appear to be having a good time. Especially if they don't get treated real quick. The skin starts necrotizing and it ain't fun. I almost came down on a big old juicy cottonmouth the other day, and I was backpedaling real hard because he did not want me to step on him any more than I wanted to step on him. I got a really patient cottonmouth, and he backed up and I backed up and we went our separate ways. because if I'd been wearing my boots, I'd have probably been okay. But I was wearing my running shoes, and they ain't got no arch support, and that's usually right where they'll snap you, is right there on that ankle. Yeah, yeah, it's a really ugly wound. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to hurt snakes or anything. Like if I can not step on them, I'm good with that. Like I don't want to hurt them any more than they really want to hurt me. So like I'm fine to like let them just go about their business. Like I'm that guy at work that'll catch spiders in a jar and take them outside. Like I don't like to mess up my karma by killing things if I can help it. I mean, like now if you're like if you're like a bug and you're like in my face about it, yeah, I might have to smack you. But like I'm good just like letting you go about your business. Otherwise, we got a bunch of little like geckos that sometimes come inside that my cats like to play with. They're like that big and they're almost translucent. They kind of look like tokays, like a little bit. Yes, lizards inside is free pest control. Spiders too. My wife hates spiders, but if I see them in the corners, I let them stay there because I hate mosquitoes. Ooh, duck head soup. Nice. Oh no, the duck head soup I had. The eyeballs were still in the duck, so we did not eat the head. They ate the head, but I was like, I'll eat the soup, but I ain't eating the head. Ah, puddle puppies. Yeah, them palmetto bugs. I don't like palmetto bugs. I don't really want to kill them, but I will because they make that sound like a helicopter taking off, like, and then they're like right up on you. Florida's full of it. Like we're it's that's what you get when you build your state in a swamp. I mean, like we had to expect there would be stuff here that hated us, but like there's a lot of stuff here that does not like us. Like I had ground wasps in my backyard last year, like the big ones. Um my son was out there playing and I noticed him coming out of the ground and I just like wrapped him up and inside we went. Like they didn't sting either of us, thank goodness. But I called a guy out there to get rid of them, and he said there was a huge O nest out there. Pretty much. Like Texas thinks they got some critters. We got some critters down here. Yeah, the bugs or the gators or the meth or something will get you. State bird might as well be a friggin' ball of meth at this point. You hate to see them come to the jail too. It's like God Almighty. I had to have a long talk with somebody the other night. I'm like, look, you keep them in book until they sober up. I don't want these guys down here. They're making a scene, trying to fight the walls and stuff. Mm, I like this chair, but I just don't know about it. I, I was upgrading my setup, so I recently got a pretty nice computer chair from a buddy of mine. It's comfy. It tries to eat my butt, so I'm like constantly like just like rolling down in it. Favorite HP Lovecraft story? Oh, that's an easy one. God dang it, I always hate that. Shadow over Innsmouth. Love Shadow over Innsmouth. That's probably my favorite one. I mean, they're it's literally just these big old wasps that like live in the ground. Like they make their hive in the ground and then they like expand. And if you get anywhere near their hole in the ground, they will come out and they will attack you. And they hurt like a lot. I hit one with a lawnmower one time and it was not great. I don't think I've ever read Rats in the Wall. Did he write Rats in the Wall? I thought I'd read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Nah, like I like me some HP Lovecraft. Oh, they hate lawnmowers, yeah. Like my riding lawnmower was like sucking them up as quick as they were coming out, and it weren't chopping all of them up either, unfortunately. Like I had to abandon that lawnmower right there. They'll hit you like bullets too. Like bees only hit to sting you once. Wasps are assholes. Like wasps will hit you like half a dozen times before you can get out of the way. It's like meh. But yeah, luckily they're not a huge problem, at least not where I live. I know down south, like if you're out there like clearing woodlands, you're gonna find quite a few of them. My wife lost her cat a couple of months ago, and we were out like looking for him in the swamp area next to our property. Ground wasps all over the place. Snakes. We ran up on snakes, and we ran up on actual tree wasps, and it was a bad time. It was a bad time. Oh, yellow jackets. I can't remember what they're called. They're like black and red. They've got like red, they like little red butts, but they're wasps, and I can't remember what they're called. Like I know they have a name, but I can't remember what they're called, and they hurt. God, they hurt. And they'll hang on to you with their little legs, and they'll just like hit you like a dozen times. Lee, what's up, Lee? What's the Chinese name? I don't know. You made it. If you guys enjoyed the Maneater series that I put out right before Halloween, that was the guy that gave me the idea right there. Lee gives me a lot of good ideas for stuff. I don't write enough of them, unfortunately, but like Lee gives me a lot of good ideas for stuff. I'm still hanging on to him, Lee. I promise. Yes, they do, and they hurt. Like they'll hang on to you and they'll like sting you and bite you. Like it's bad. It's a bad time. Um, no, Florida's got a bunch of crazy critters. Like there's raccoons in my attic right now. Like you can't hear them, but they're like right there. Like there's a hole somewhere in my eave. I've plugged a bunch of them after Michael, but I haven't got them all. But there's raccoons living in my attic right now. I keep hoping maybe like one of their little baby raccoons will fall through the ceiling or something so I can like love him. But you know, I'm not a Disney princess, so I never get cool stuff. Fortunately, the part of Florida I live in, we do not have a big problem with pythons, but um yeah. Yeah, they did pull an 18-foot alligator out of the dam that's near my house a couple of years ago. So that was fun. He was a biggin. Like that's a big old friggin' dinosaur living out there. And when they get that big, they're not impressed by you. Like this guy was like tipping over people's canoes to like eat their coolers and stuff. Like he was huge. That's why they finally had to get rid of him because he got so big. He wasn't interested in people. He was just like he figured out if he tipped the canoe over, he could like eat the fish that were in their canoe, and that's what he wanted. He didn't want to work for it. He just wanted to eat their fish. Old puddle puppies. Um, we had a skink lizard on my back porch a couple of months ago, like when it was still warm. Like they never got rid of him. He tried to take a chomp out of me. Like they're not real big, but they'll bite you. Like they are vicious and they are not afraid of you. Like, man, I have boots bigger than you. Friggin' Florida wildlife, man. Seahawks are getting big too. Like we've been having a real problem with Seahawks lately, like taking people's dogs and stuff. Like ornery but cool. I knew a lady that had a pet skink. I guess she like raised him from when he was like really little. And like Ryan said, free pest control. He lived in her store and he ate bugs. she had like, I think she had like got him from like little. She had like nursed him back to health, and he decided that he liked him or something. Skunks. I don't miss skunks. You see them every now and again here, but they were really bad in Georgia. Knock on wood, I haven't seen a lionfish yet, but I've heard they're out there. Um, my brother almost got bit by a beaver once when we lived in Georgia. Like I didn't even know they lived there, but we were like walking by the river behind our house, and like we found a beaver dam, and he chased us back to the house. Like he was angry, but beaver almost like took a chunk out of him. Like they look cute, but beavers are ornery, man. Like, oh, yeah, I imagine you guys do have some skinks in New Zealand. Like New Zealand's got some lizards, don't like some pretty big lizards, if I'm remembering right. It's been a while since geography. I mean, that's the alligators around here. They're getting bigger. Like they're getting bigger, especially after Michael. Like they've got more places to roam now, and they're getting huge. Well, guys, who's got some questions? Any more questions? Radioactive hurricane? Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, Alex Jones. Oh, I love me some Alex Jones. I don't believe a word that he says, but he is entertaining. We've seen a couple of them, Lee. Like, there's been a couple of reported nests, but like, it's not too bad. I'm sorry you were, Ryan. That was a bad time. Like, I feel bad for anybody that was here during Michael. I got stuck at the prison for like 2 days before I could come back and make sure my family was okay. And like the power lines were down, and like nobody was getting cell service. It was a bad time. But they pulled together. Like everybody pulled together. Our mall still hasn't reopened, which sucks. I miss the mall. Ooh, which hospital did you work at? I only worked at Gulf Coast for like a while, but that was a long time ago. Luckily, I wasn't working at the jail during the storm because they said a whole air conditioner came through the ceiling at some point, like one of the big ones, like one of the like roof air conditioners. I guess nobody died, but like, oh yeah, hurricanes are getting bad. Like they're getting worse. Getting them superstorms. That's the end times. Let's hope not. I I joke, but yeah, let's hope not. I'd like to make it at least till the next ice age. Let's see. Prison for 3 years, work release for 2 years, and then jail for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I'm actually coming up on 10 years with the state. I could almost retire. We got some cougars and some coyotes down here too. Black bears mostly just get in people's garbage around here. Barely a grizz. Skunks, raccoons, possums. Oh, we got lots of possums. Orca otters, the occasional murder hornet. Oh, Shanti, y'all got everything. It sounds like. Dang. That is wild. Which one was the worst? Probably the jail. Actually, the jail just like I don't know, like if they're gonna act out, they seem to act out more at the jail because like they know they're still like two steps from free citizens, and like they just act out because they don't want to be there. Like prison, once they're there, they know they're there till they're not. So they're like, well, better make the best of it or stab people. And like most of them don't want to hurt guards. The guys at the jail, they don't care. They'll hurt guards, they'll hurt other inmates, they don't care. The ones at the prison, they know they don't want to hurt guards because that gets backlash on everybody and then they will hurt them. But it's all pretty bad. Like it's all pretty terrible. Um I wouldn't tell anybody not to join the correctional scene because I know they need people. Like all of your local prisons are probably hurting for people. But on a scale of 1 to 10, it's real terrible. Like it's bad. I mean, don't sell yourself shortly. I didn't think I could do it either. I expected them to fire me inside of 2 weeks when I started, but I put my head down and blundered through it, I guess. Put on some muscle, that's for sure. Like I used to be bigger down here than up here. Oh, they're hurting for guards in a big way. Like the prison that I used to work at had to bring the National Guard in because they got below critical. Like it happens a lot too. Like there's a lot of them that just people don't want to do the work, you know? Which is bad because they need people. The locals call the Howler. What is the Howler exactly? That sounds cool. I could write a story about that. Um, is it like the Wampus Cat? My mom used to scare us with the Wampus Cat. Oh, it's just like a giant anthropomorphic cat that like eats children. I think he was in a yeah, he was in my second grandpa story. That's right. The old Wampus Cat. Who like most people think now was just like a southern skinwalker, basically. It's a Native American story. So now they're like, the Wampus Cat's just a southern skinwalker. And it's like, I think there's more to it than that, but maybe. Well, now if it's anything like my mom just was like, "Oh, the Wampus Cat's gonna get you," and then she'd make cat noises, and I'd go do whatever it was she wanted me to go do because I was a kind of a dumb kid. And she'd be like, "Oh, here he comes, meow, meow." Oh yeah, that cousin deserved to get at. He needed a good at. As my cousins are wanting to say, some folks just need killing. Oh, but yeah, no, the Wampus Cat is universal. Any of y'all can use the Wampus Cat. Totes. He's a he's a cool dude. Let's see, Wampus Cat, the Dark Man. They used to scare me with the Dark Man too. Don't go out of the house after dark, or the Dark Man will get you. Um, it ought to be. It ought to be the Florida motto. I love the Yule Cat. I love all of those. Like, you guys remember, I did my Yule Lad series a couple of, I think it was either, yeah, it was a couple of, was it a couple of Christmases ago? I don't think it was this one, but it was last Christmas. Um, and I love me some Yule Cats, some Yule Lads, Gerda and her husband, the big ogre people. They're all great. Like I love that stuff. Like Iceland's got some really cool like legends and stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. In Georgia, we just called him the skunk ape, but he did some howling too. The Sasquatch needs a friend. He should have a pet Wampus cat. Spoiler alert, but Grandpa has met the Sasquatch, so y'all should probably look out for that story too. That one's coming. Grandpa's done a lot of stuff that he'll be more than glad to tell you about. Oh goodness. I wish I had a new book to show off to you guys, but my author's copies of my new book haven't come out yet. Supposed to be here on the 27th, I guess. I mean, it's on Amazon. Like I've got it up. I just don't have any copies of it yet. I did the cover myself. Can I? I don't know if I can do that. Can I do that? Oh no, I'm not gonna fool with that. I was gonna share my screen to show you the cover, but I have no idea how that works, and I'm not gonna do that. Oh, the Thunderbirds. It is currently 9:38 p.m. Georgia had some Thunderbirds. They've got a legend about a dragon too that I saw when we were up there. Um, I did it all in Photoshop. It looks real good. I should really put it up in the community and like let everybody see it. It came out really well. I really like being able to do my own covers. I see the sun isn't even down over there yet. Dang, you guys are like 5 hours behind us. Though it's probably tomorrow. I guess it's probably not tomorrow over there yet. I don't know. I don't know how time works. Time is weird. Florida's got like four different time zones within like an hour drive of each other. So I don't know anymore. Sometimes I wish we could all just agree on one time, but I guess that wouldn't work. Oh, excuse me. There we go. I should have had some coffee before I got on. Ooh. Um that's what did they call that thing? I was it was on an episode of Lore that I was listening to the other day. Shoot, but I cannot for the life of me remember what they named that thing. Because it's like a lot of people have seen it. Like it's pretty well known. Um, Crap, it's not Champ. It's the other one. It's not Ogopogo. It's I was gonna write a story about it. I've got it wrote down in my notebook somewhere. Like yeah, no, Lee, it's crazy around here. We're in Central Time right now, but like an hour up the road, it's Mountain Time, and like an hour somewhere up the road, it's Eastern Time. Like it's wild. Like this whole state is a whole mess. Like you go to Alabama, which is up the road, and it's an hour behind. You go to no, it's an hour ahead. You gain an hour when you go to Alabama. You gain an hour when you go to Tallahassee, but it's a different time zone for some reason. You I think you lose an hour when you go to Jacksonville. Like it just this whole state can't make up its mind. It's crazy. You gain an hour when you go down to Orlando. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's Florida. They got to keep you on your toes, I guess. Nothing is allowed to make sense ever because Florida. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I think I'm going to turn in though. I'm starting to get yawny. Um, Thanks for coming out to my 3K show. Appreciate it, guys. We didn't get a chance to read any stories, but I think we kept each other entertained, right? Yay. Yanni was a great musician. He's no Bjork, but he's a great musician. Love you guys to death. I think I think maybe at 5K we'll do another one. Yeah, I think maybe at 5K we'll do another one. We'll do a long one at 5K. Maybe I'll have like a weekend that I can come hang out or something. Um, you know, do a longer one. Maybe we'll do something special. I don't know. Play some video games or something. I got a bunch of horror games that I haven't played yet that I'd love to play on stream for you guys. Florida game. All right, guys. It's been fun. We'll catch you on the next one. Dr. Plague signing off. Have a wonderful evening.